welcome back to Gotta Be Me podcast. We're so happy to be here again with you today. We're your hosts. My name is Sophia Benyon, and this is my cousin, Peyton Benyon.
Welcome back to our channel, everybody. This is our second try at recording this video. So please do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We're already grumpy. Come on.
You want to know the truth? I'm going to give you all the truth. And please throw shade in the comments. Me and Peyton told our producers, hey, we're making a Meet the Producers video tonight, so be ready. And we gave them hours of warning and extra time so that they could be ready. And we got here, and guess what? Were they ready? No. Did they try to get ready? No. It's what we've been thinking about and dealing with. I totally have a tag of my
Leave that part in.
No, that's coming off.
No.
Okay.
Leave.
We decided to talk about this project that we've been working on.
Which I think is still really exciting because we just got it done. So.
And it was kind of, it was life-changing.
Yeah, it was.
And I think it's going to continue to affect our lives as we go on.
Super was life-changing.
Super was. So go ahead, tell them what the project was, and then I'll take over.
We had to write a book in 3 days. That was
3 days.
The genuine project. That was the whole project of it.
It was. We had to write a book in 3 days, and the book was supposed to prove to ourselves. It's write a book proving to ourselves that we are supposed to be teachers. Because that's what we do. We teach, right? We're not just teachers either. We are student engagement activists, okay?
Go off.
You know, bite that off if you can.
Don't bite that off. I hate you. It was going to be good, too.
I don't know why I said that. I'm just saying, like, that's a mouthful. That's all I'm saying. But that's what we are. And
the reason we had to write.
So we wrote.
Try. Stop. The reason.
No,
I'm gonna say.
I'm keeping on going.
No.
Yes, we are.
You're not.
Yes, I am.
The reason we had to.
This is why you need to let me keep going, and you get yourself together and then finish. I'm together. I'm together. We're not together.
Please let me say it.
Okay, say it.
The reason we. Oh my God.
Sorry, I don't know why we keep laughing. This is just a laughing podcast, apparently. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. We're not editing it.
Keep going. Patch it.
I did patch this.
Stop patching it.
We're leaving this in. I don't care.
You're not deciding that. The reason. Step back. The reason.
Now you know how violent she is for real.
The reason we had to write these books is because if we're going to call ourselves engagement activists or people who are able to cultivate students, then we had better know why we're called to be in there, because as teachers, we have to cultivate them to kind of know who they are.
True.
And not in a definitive sort of way, like going in there like, you're going to be a veterinarian because I can tell you petted a dog. Like,
no.
it ain't all that. It's fourth graders and fifth graders. But you can tell from a child's beginnings what tendencies they have and what how they kind of act. So we were charged with the challenge of going through our lives and telling our story and writing a book about why we feel like we are called or why we feel convinced or compelled to be in schools.
Right.
And why we could not really do anything else and feel as fulfilled.
Absolutely. So Brother Steph sent me a message the other day, Brother Steph Hargrave, and he said, do you girls have like 3 days that you could give to a project that I would like you all to do? And we were like, yes, sir. And he was like, okay, I need you to take these 3 days and you're going to write a book. You're going to write this book. He said, but there's like some specifics to writing the book. He said that, and he started teaching us about what he calls the ALECtion method.
Yes, he said the Lord just dropped it in his head.
He did. And the Lord must have, because it's like so complete and well-rounded and sensible. And he got it that fast. So ALECtion, or the chosen one, it explains what each individual is chosen to do in the community and what that encompasses.
Yeah, it's kind of like a play on word, like
because it's
elected.
Spelled ALEC.
ALEC. You've been around kindergartners for too long. It's a key.
I've been teaching too many kindergartners. ALEC-tion. ALECtion. The shun is just like to add it on to explain what it means. But the ALEC stands for acknowledgement, love, engagement, and cultivation. And he kind of went down the list of what those things mean and how they translate into education, and then said to us, you think about how that happened in your life, how
Mhm.
you were acknowledged, and how you were loved, how you engaged, if how you engaged in your community and were engaged with your peers, with older people, with younger people, and how you were cultivated, and explain through that how now you're called to
Mhm.
teach someone else through this election method.
And then you will now be able to transfer this from you, because you have gone through the election method. Now you can give it and impart it to your children.
So we were kind of stressed about this, like excited in a way, but stressed because there's some ways in which it's fun to like sit down and think through, your
Reminisce.
life and your memories. And we were like calling our moms and calling our dads
Mhm.
and our grandmas and grandpas and trying to get information. So it was like fun and stressful at the same time. So we
Mhm.
took ourselves to Starbucks. We set up camp. We sat there
Mhm.
for like 3 hours. Camille and Peyton have like 3 pages of their book done by the time they leave Starbucks. Me, of course, on the other hand, have like,
She has 3 pages of notes.
yeah, notes. I don't know.
Mhm.
Somehow, I don't know what it is with
It's
me.
fine. Well, this is the thing. We all write differently. So it's like as soon as I start thinking of a project, I start immediately writing at the first place I think of it. So whatever comes to my mind immediately, I just kind of zone in on that and I start writing from there. And then I just kind of build around it and behind it. Sometimes we call it like word throw up. So I don't know. That's just kind of how I do it.
Camille, by far, is the best storyteller of all of
Yeah.
us. Her book is like a really engaging story.
It's
Like,
like beautiful and well rounded, and
yes.
it's like it literally like tastes good,
And
like when you
yeah,
read
it's
it.
interesting that she made her 21 years an interesting story.
Yeah.
Like, you would want to read it. Mine reads more like I don't even know.
Yours is like a statement. I was like, what a
Oh,
powerful
okay,
statement.
that's a good word.
Yeah.
Mine is a statement. I
Yeah.
like that.
It's like a very
How would you
statement.
describe yours?
I don't know. It
I
feels
think
very
yours is a
bold.
story. It's not bald.
It
It's
is.
12 pages long.
It's 10.
Okay, 10.
Yeah.
It's a good story and a long
Yeah.
story.
It's definitely my story. So that's the good part here.
And that's the important part. And that's the thing that I think about the book. Everyone has a book. Everyone is a book.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone should have to write their book.
Yeah.
Low key. Like,
Yeah.
not
Like
saying that for
because
sure,
you
but
have people like doing things and you can tell like that is not in their book to do.
mm-hmm.
Like
Their
what's something
story,
Peyton
like
should
our
do.
story tells us we should be teachers,
Like,
right? When we
yeah.
look back at our whole entire story, it leads us to the conclusion that we should teach.
Yeah, like
But some
whenever
people's books don't lead you
to
no.
teaching, and you can tell when they do it. Like, if you read Peyton's book, do you think it's gonna say be a mechanic in there,
Like
or
it
be
doesn't lead
be
you
a
to that.
baker? Peyton, be a baker. When I opened up my book, it never said that. So I'm not gonna even try. I'm not.
When we
literally
look at
saying,
when we
but,
look at no, but when we look at our families, when we look at our moms and our dads and our raising and our influences and our education,
mhm,
looking at all those things, looking at the entirety of our story, our acknowledgement, love, engagement, and cultivation, it says something to us.
mhm,
It proves something to us.
mhm.
And that's the point. And I think it would help and bless everyone if they went back and really honestly looked at their own story
Mhm.
to find out, what is it that I'm actually
And
supposed
every
to be
time before you do something, look in your book. Say, is this a part of my story?
say, is
Did
this a
my
part of my
mom do
story?
this? Did my dad do this? Did anybody I know do this? And I'm not saying people can't do things outside of what their families do,
Mhm.
but generally speaking, we kind of families do
stick
what
to-
families do,
Mhm.
and that's how God kind of gifted you.
Mhm.
That's how I tend to think about it. Some people could disagree and think they're an absurdity outside of their family, but You look like
I
your
wouldn't
family.
disagree. Like, so I'm sure some people are,
Mhm.
but there's a generalness, there's a
Mhm.
general truth to this, an overarching, all-inclusive.
Tell a story from your book, because people probably want to know a story
I didn't really
about it.
put stories in my
Yeah,
book.
you
Camille put
did.
stories
Do
in her
Margaret
books.
and Matilda.
No, that's so embarrassing.
No, tell about it.
Okay. Well, when I was like 6 or 7, I obviously had a big imagination as a child, and I imagined that I was a teacher.
I imagined there were monsters in the toilet.
That's what I always wanted to do. And I really liked chilling in the shower. Like, for some reason I could just stand there forever.
She still does.
No, I'm much better now.
Continue.
Anyway, I decided at the time that I was 6 or 7 that the shower was a great place to have an imaginary classroom. Obviously, I had imaginary clothes and imaginary desks and imaginary everything else. But hey, you know what? My imagination was strong. That's all I'm saying. So I think I imagined myself to have a class of 20 children, but I only bothered to name 4 of them because those are the ones I interacted with in my imagination. I mean, although I quite literally would talk out loud to the point where my parents would end up banging on the door like, Sophia, stop teaching, get out of there, like they could hear me.
You're being weird.
So I had 2 good students. Okay, my star student was Margaret. Okay, Margaret got 100% at all times, A+, and was perfectly behaved. Okay, Henry was almost as perfect as Margaret, not quite, because girls rule, And then I had Peter. He was a meh student. Okay, he was so meh, average to naughty in my imagination. That's how he was, and his grades were C grades. And then I had Macintosh. Okay, very unfortunately, the reason that I named her Macintosh was because I really did not like the name Macintosh because there was an older sister in our congregation who I felt corrected me too frequently, and that was her last name.
That's so
It's
mean.
so bad. It sounds worse when I say it out loud. So yeah, I named her Macintosh. I didn't like her. She didn't like me. She was as naughty as she could be. She got F's at all times, and I think I felt justified in disliking her because she was naughty. She got F's, and her name was Macintosh.
So, I mean, what
basically,
more
I was a
could you
bad
be
person.
asking for?
What kind of teacher is that? I had so much to learn.
Mm-hmm.
I think I assumed that good grades made you good. Or being, some bad.
What age is this at? It's got to be 6 or 7. Yeah,
Still,
6 or 7.
The socio-emotional connections I was making for my children, not good. Not good at all. So glad that I don't think about my children in that way anymore.
We've been enlightened.
But yeah, I always wanted to teach. I enjoyed helping my classmates if the opportunity ever came up, or working with my. And I went back all over this in my book. I remembered it. I dredged it up. I was like,
It was super interesting to go back through it.
And I always loved school. I was blessed like that. School.
Yeah.
I had a great time. So maybe that was part of the reason I wanted to teach, because I was like, school is so great. Everybody should know school's great. But still, if I could teach whatever I wanted, I would teach a literature, history, reading combination. Teaching math is not my thing.
My favorite thing that I ever taught was probably Bible.
But yeah, see, to me, Bible goes in there with history, because you can't teach history without prophecy.
And I really loved when I taught a PE class. I really, really liked that. I felt watching people's numbers go up, right? They could do this many push-ups at the end of the year, at the beginning of the year, and then you push them and they grow, and then they do a lot more push-ups. That's been really fun as well. But my ultimate dream in as far as teaching and career goes is I would love to teach teachers how to teach. That would be my favoriteest thing to do.
Your final.
Yeah, final destination. I think I've seen my dad do teacher seminars and things, and I know how I feel leaving them. I feel on top of the world. I could teach anybody. Give me the baddest boy in the room, and you just feel like I have the tools inside of myself to be able to cause anyone to succeed. And giving teachers that feeling, to me, would just be super duper rewarding. I do like teaching children as well, but I do know that I think I like grown-ups a lot too, and engaging with them.
It's interesting that you've found that out about yourself, because I think I found out too that my eventual goal is I want to keep on working with children, but I don't think my eventual goal is to be a classroom teacher. I think I want to continue to work with children more on a one-on-one, small group basis, where we're doing we're working on schoolwork, because I like to teach reading and things like that, but we're also working on behavior, and we're working on healthy habits, and just everything, kind of the whole
more of a holistic approach.
Yeah,
on
absolutely. I'm really interested in that. And then I mentioned history and all that, I wouldn't mind teaching a class or 2 of that. But
yeah,
those were a couple of the things we learned. I learned so much from writing my book. I cannot. And it wasn't things I never knew about myself, but it was just kind of random information scattered in my brain. And then the book brought it all together and realized, this is what I think. This is how I feel about myself. This is how I feel about my family. This is how I feel about my relationship with Camille or Peyton, or, my relationship with Brother Steph Hargrave, or my relationship with my friends, or, things like that. My parents.
It all together, honestly, in one spot was super incredible. I actually literally forgot the moment I decided to teach, and my mom reminded me about it.
Really?
Yeah, so that was super interesting. I was like,
how old were you?
I was going through it. I would say like definitively saying I wanted to teach. I was probably in 9th grade.
I was gonna guess 14.
Yeah, I was like, oh no, I'm gonna be a teacher. So I'm sure it had been in my head just because both my parents are teachers. I always had to teach my little brothers because we were kind of homeschooled a little bit. Some years homeschooled, so I had to help with that. But
Yeah. Teachers we are and shall be. But that's not everybody. You know, everybody's book says something different. Somebody else would write their book, and everything that they build and put together and come up with would be that they should be a scientist, you know, and they should be an engineer, and they should be a doctor, and they should be a lawyer, and they should be a mechanic, and they should be a baker, and they should be a dancer, and they should be a, you know, a videographer. And it's just beautiful, like all the different giftings and abilities that people have. And some people are good with people, and some people are good with machines, and some people are, you know, there's just, you know, we're beautiful because we're diverse. And I just think the beauty of, you know, the beauty of the book is that it's specific to you. It's your book. It tells your story, and nobody in the entire world has a story quite like yours. Like, it's unique. That's what's so beautiful about it, I think.
What's your plan B?
If I'm not a student engagement activist, I'll go be a doula or something, a midwife, which...
I'm going to be a chiropractor. I'm going to pop everybody's bones.
She just thinks it's so satisfying.
It is so satisfying. I love it. I'm going to do it one day. Whenever I'm 40, then I'm going to be a student. And I'm going to be a chiropractor.
I hope you're going to be... Well, let you say anything else. That was a Freudian slip.
What in the world?
Before we go, I'm just going to read some of the... I'm going to read the definitions of the four... of the... It's not an acrostic. What's it called? Acronym. ALEC. Acknowledgment. The recognition that each student is in possession of a level of genius that our community cannot live without, and which is criminal to leave unidentified. I think it's so good. Like,
yeah.
It's criminal to not find that and call it out of a child. And it's beautiful what it does for the child. Love. The development of a living and vibrant appreciation, respect, and admiration for and in the students and what they have to give to the world. Engagement, observing and developing the students' interactions in the community of their peers and with whom they themselves are. And cultivation, the continual checking in on the students, the building up of the giftings, and that which has already been acknowledged and worked in them to ensure proper growth. It is a weeding out of the bad. Sorry, lost it there. And of the bad that would otherwise continually come up, and it is the establishment of good habits.
Imagine if every child had the opportunity to be educated like that and know, I am the chosen one. I am the main character in my book, and this is me. I know who I am. Everyone has told me since I was in kindergarten. I know who I am.
And the election method is actually, in the election method, we as the teachers together with the child write their book. Literally, like we save... things they wrote. We save things they've collected.
We take notes of things that we noticed.
We take notes, and we compile it. When this child graduates, they have, you know, anywhere from a book, of volumes, if the child is that type of child, that they can go on in their life with, that they can build off of, you know, that they can understand about themselves and how they work and how they, you know, how they work in the community.
How they engage with their community. Imagine how much like better citizens we would be producing, how much more
smoothly
educated, like everybody knows what they're supposed to do. Yeah, that's crazy.
I would argue like crazy sounding things. Like some people don't need to do math for forever. It's not in their...
It's not in their book.
It's not in their book.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's all about our story of our book writing and our discovery, or our indoctrination, whatever you want to call it, with the election method, which we love. We're so excited about. We're so excited to start building into our curriculum, as long as we truly are elected to be student engagement activists. And please,
we know that our clothes don't match. Don't even say anything about it.
Yeah, blue and green should always be seen. We don't
even
care.
if they're outside of the washing machine.
Yeah, okay.
So,
and please congratulate us, if you make it to the end, please congratulate us in the comments for coming up with this spur of the moment, which obviously Like, it's on our hearts and minds, so
Yeah.
it wasn't difficult. But it's just not what we were planning. So, yeah. Thank you all for watching, and you know what time it is.
Peace, love, and hair grease.